Todd Talbot builds the passive house project on Cottage Life. It was the dream to build the A-frame home, and I think we all know what happened last summer, a tragic end to that home, and it's all covered in this fascinating new series. Todd joins us in studio this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Obviously, the way the series ends is not what you had envisioned, of course. We'll get into that in a minute, but explain the net zero passive home for people that don't quite get it, because I feel like I hear that,
right,
and I know it's a good thing, and I'm not quite sure.
Well, to be honest with you, when I started down this path, I'd heard these terms too, and didn't quite have an intimate knowledge of what they were. So net zero is really quite simple. It is how much energy do you use, how much energy do you produce, and if you produce more than you use, you are net zero or net positive. That one's simple. It's math. Passive house is more principled in how you are building your home, let's say. And basically, it incorporates a few principles to try and make your home super energy efficient, healthy, and resilient. Now, the resilient piece, the irony of that is not lost on me in terms of what ended up happening. But we have a building code in BC, which is called Step Code, not to put your listeners to sleep, of course, but we're moving towards Step Code 5, which is going to be implemented in 2032, and that will essentially be passive house. So we're all headed here. So this isn't some crazy thing that Todd's trying to do up in the woods. This is actually something that everyone is going to be dealing with and should be.
Yeah.
And the reason why, all kinds of reasons why, but climate change, the climate crisis, and that is ultimately what happened with your home, the increase that we have seen in wildfires over the years. Your home that you had been built, you were virtually done the home. You had just completed it.
We were really close, and I was there the night of the fire. Rebecca and the kids had gone up to Vernon because it was so smoky that day.
This was the McDougall Creek fire from last summer.
Yeah, so August 2023, McDougall Creek wildfire is kind of coming. Well, it's back in the mountains earlier in the day, but the wind shifted so incredibly powerfully and pushed this fire towards West Kelowna and all the way up kind of the west side of Okanagan Lake.
And so at the time, are you thinking, okay, this is going to bypass us? This is it's out there. It's not we're fine?
100%. There was never a moment that I thought, oh, this house is going to burn down. Even having friends across the lake texting me photos because they could see the fire across the lake, but I couldn't see it because the mountain was right there.
Yeah.
And they're saying, we really think maybe you should get out of there. And I was like, it seems okay right now. I think I'm going to hunker down here and just kind of evaluate it as the night unfolds.
So how quickly did you have to leave, and then how much time had passed from when you left to when fire went through your house? Do you know?
So around 7 p.m., 3 unmarked cars ripped down the driveway to our little bay, which has about 15 homes in it. And the guys get out and they said, "You got to go now." And the tone in their voice makes you realize that there's urgency in this. So I said, can I have 10 minutes? And they said, yep, you can have 10 minutes. So your brain flips into this crazy mode of trying to figure out what to grab, what to take with you, and you're just throwing stuff in the truck. It was a very bizarre moment. Drove up towards Vernon, met Rebecca and the kids at a hotel there. And we didn't really hear anything until the next morning when a neighbor texted me one of the lead stories on CNN, which was literally our house engulfed in flames. And so, we found out pretty quickly. For a lot of people, they don't find out quickly, and there's this sense of unknown, and that's super hard to deal with. 191 homes were lost in that fire, so lots of people affected.
And where are you at now in the aftermath of that? It's been over a year. We
haven't even cleaned up. I mean, we don't have time to get into all the nuances of it, but insurance is a massive piece of the puzzle, and frankly, it's a bit of a mess. Yeah, it's like clean up, just all of those kinds of things, and we're kind of in a holding pattern, to be honest with you. We're thinking about what comes next, but we haven't made any hard and fast decisions.
I guess that is in a way, because the series is now going to end differently than what you envisioned when you started filming. So is there sort of a message in this, because we do have climate change and these fires? I mean, we've got insane hurricanes that are happening in Florida right now, and like these storms that like that part of the world
atmospheric rivers, heat domes, these hurricanes, wildfires. We can acknowledge, I think, that these climate challenges are intensifying, and they're happening more frequently, and we need to make sure that the homes that we're living in are safe. So I hope that people, when they watch this, are inspired to just think a little bit differently about how they are constructing, how they're renovating, what the instructions they're giving their contractor. If they're going out to buy a home, what are they looking for?
Absolutely.
And then, but don't get me wrong, this is fun. This was meant to be, my midlife crisis, where I go and build this incredibly stunning architectural A-frame pinned to the side of a cliff, and the family's in it, and it is a wild ride that obviously ends with a very different ending than we anticipated.
And then an ending that also, so that's the ending for the show, but then you've got other plans, and you got to figure out now where the next step is, right?
Yeah, your life kind of, you get the rug pulled out from underneath you, and you kind of regroup, and the support has been amazing from so many people. But it's a very unique experience to go through, for sure.